Nick Durst, live on the UCY.TV network.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Sports, Politics, and More. And it is episode number 35. Yes, number 35 already. And we have a lot to discuss tonight, as usual, on Sports, Politics, and More. And I'm Nick Durst, and of course, we're always here together. We got John Brown. John, what's going on, man?
Not a thing. For whatever reason, you see why I wouldn't let me connect just now, but seems to be resolved, which is good.
Yes, so UCY, as usual, with a lot of phone issues. But if you want to try giving us a call to talk about anything, go ahead. The number to call is 718-717-8296. And you can, of course, tweet us. John is at SI_sports, and I am at Nick_Durst. That's how you can contact us. Or, of course, you can write to us in the UCY lobby chat. Coming up later in the show, we're going to talk about the ESPN layoffs, play a little game of who should have stayed and who should have gone. Briefly touch on NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs. And, of course, we'll have to discuss the North Korea-USA tensions and NAFTA. And a great 10 at 10 coming up. We will have the top 10 reasons why Yankee fans are the worst. So definitely looking forward to that. And Andrew is he's going to do that one for us. And he's a Yankee fan, so it should be great. And next week he is going to do the top 10 bagels to eat. And he was doing research this past Wednesday. So if you check out his Twitter at Andy's Randomness or our show Twitter at spam_UCYTV, you'll see him. He was trying out some bagels. So we're glad to hear that. But John, we got to start the show again for the second week in a row, talking Jeb Bush and Derek Jeter. Now, they apparently got the winning bid to buy the Marlins. So my question for you is, first, how do you think this partnership came about? And my second part of this question is, how rich are the Bushes really? Because we know George W. owned the Texas Rangers. And the third question here is, how did Jeb ever end up in Florida in the first place?
Well, the Bushes actually come, they got all this, sort of like Texas oil money, but they're actually originally from New Hampshire, I believe. So, George Bush Sr., before he was president, he was the head of the CIA. Prior to that, he was a senator, World War II veteran, a Yale graduate, real smart guy. He got some oil money, and he was good to go. So, I guess better on him. It seems to be like an old family money more than anything they've like sort of done. There's no like Bush product or anything. So yeah, I guess it's just oil money from way back when.
So lots of oil money, I guess. We know there's going to be like 12 to 13 investors. So these are just the two biggest names. That's how we're hearing them. How do you think that this partnership came about between Jeb and Derek Jeter? I can't even imagine how they got introduced to each other.
Yeah, I don't know, but Jeb is so low energy. Ugh. I guess it's finally good that he finally won something, but he had to tag along with Derek Jeter to win anything. Maybe his mom helped him. I know that's the strongest woman he's ever met.
You are such a Jeb hater. I don't even know, when did Jeb like relocate to Florida? And like LB Network today was showing how Jeb, he used to be like the Secretary of Commerce in Florida, but they weren't showing that he was the governor. It was just so weird that they would put that little line to put under his infographic instead of saying governor.
Yeah, that is bizarre. Listen, Jeb is, this is all you need to know about the Bush family. George W. is the good-looking, smart one. So Jeb is like ooh, hey guys, guacamole, please clap.
Didn't you support both George Bush and George W. Bush?
I did. I voted for both of them.
So why the hate for Jeb?
Because they're not just because they're the same family doesn't mean that they're the same political adulation. Because because Jeb was down in Florida and they had that huge Hispanic population, he was all about amnesty, which was I'm completely against it. You're rewarding people for breaking the law. He did that for political reasons only to get elected governor. They tried passing that when W was in his second term. He shot it down. The Republicans in the House and Senate shot it down. But Jeb wants amnesty. That ain't it.
Do you think Jeb even wanted to run for president, or he was just like forced to by his family?
It's not so much the family; it's the old guard of the Republican Party. Because Ted Cruz is a Tea Partier. He's the new grassroots far right. You got Trump, who's very much a centralist, a populist. He's not really a Republican. Even Marco is leans too much to the center. So the old guard of the Republican Party, Jeb was really they tried Graham, they tried McCain in the past. They weren't going, so they figured they'd go after another Bush. They played their hand wrong. The Koch brothers, they didn't invest their money well because the guy's not charismatic and likable. You could say whatever you want about George Bush and his policies, but when the guy spoke, he was likable. He's like, oh, gee, gosh, oh, swell. But there's something likable about him. He was a recovering alcoholic, so he seemed human. George Bush is someone you'd want to have a beer with. Jeb is like a creepy old guy. It didn't make any sense.
Now, if you pick, living, obviously, former presidents, not too many to choose from, unfortunately, at this time, or any politician, who do you think would make the best owner of a sports franchise?
That's a good question.
Of course it's a good question. That's what you got on this show. Lots of good questions about lots of topics. And here we get to blend politics and sports. Doesn't get any more sports politics and more than that.
Listen, George W. was actually a pretty decent owner of the Texas Rangers. They were all fucking juiced up at the time, though. Bill Clinton looks like he has AIDS and he's a sexual rapist. You don't want him. Jimmy Carter would give all your players away to the other teams. Reagan's passed away, God rest his soul. He'd be really good.
So it seems like you're leaning towards Obama.
Oh, no, not at all. He would redistribute points so that everyone in the league scored the same amount of points. Obama is a crook.
That would be Bernie Sanders' thing. Make every team the same record.
I tell you right now, I would rather have Bill Clinton than Obama. That's how bad Obama was. He is like a hard leftist.
How about
Light through and through?
How about Bill de Blasio?
Warren Wilhelm, that piece of shit, I can't stand him.
Well, he might be good because he did all Hispanics and minorities on your team, though.
No, but what he would do is he would purposely, oh, there's too many Spanish people in the Major League Baseball. I'm going out and I'm getting purposely Filipinos because there's not enough of them.
Oh, gosh. Well, I think we can both agree on this. The current president of the United States would be an amazing owner because he'd spend so much money, and all you would do is win so much that you get sick of winning, but you really wouldn't get sick of it.
Winning, I gotta agree. I think he'd be phenomenal.
I wish he would have bought the Mets years ago.
Yeah, if you remember, if you can go back into Twitter and look at my tweets in 2010, I think it was, there was like rumors that they were going to sell the Mets. It was when Frank McCourt was getting divorced, and they were going to sell the Dodgers, and people were like, "Oh, the Mets are going to get sold," blah blah blah. And there was a rumor that Trump was involved in a group that was looking.
Well, listen, I also tweeted around that time. I actually tweeted Mark Cuban and Trump in the same tweet, and I suggested the two of them buy the teams together. They'd have so much damn money, the team would never lose. And do you remember Mark Cuban tried buying the Cubs like 10 years ago? If they and MLB turned it down though because they knew he was going to spend so much and win, the Cubs would have won years ago, not just last year. Because Mark Cuban, I think, would be an amazing baseball owner. Same goes for James Dolan. People hate him, but without a salary cap, there's no limits to what these guys would do to win.
Honestly, though, I'm glad they kept Cuban out of baseball because look at what he pulled with Tony Romo and the Mavericks the other day. The guy doesn't respect the game, and that's a problem. In other sports, it's not as big a deal. Baseball, it's a big deal.
I think, obviously Tony Romo was just there in the pregame so they could sell jerseys. It was all a marketing thing to make money.
I know,
I'm
but
not
still.
a fan about it. The team was out of it, and he just wanted to make some extra money. He filled the stadium. So it was actually a smart move by him.
No, it's a savvy business move, but this is what I don't like it as somebody, just say I'm the commissioner. So your team's out of it and you're fine with it. You're joking and laughing. It's a good time. Your team sucks. So you shouldn't be happy about that. This isn't just
the first time they didn't make the playoffs in a long time. I just think these guys that own these, basketball, hockey teams that are like real legit billionaires. Like a lot of these teams are owned by people who don't really have so much money. They're in these groups. But if you're a legit like billionaire, trillionaire, and have all this money, baseball's the sport you got to get into because there's no salary cap and you could win.
Yeah, but baseball is very much controlled, where it's very much unlike the other leagues that were, because it's like the baseball has a timeline that goes all the way back to Babe Ruth, where the numbers count and the history counts. The rules haven't changed. Like the game is very pure, and keeping control of that is very important. That's why they don't just let anybody buy a team. You really have to be a baseball guy.
There's one team that always breaks the rules, and they always had the most money, so that's why they won in the 90s with their steroid guys. And that brings us to our 10 of 10 tonight. Tonight's 10 of 10 is the top 10 reasons why the Yankee fans are the worst fans, or just the worst people ever. And we bring in our field reporter, Andrew Jason Pollock, the phenomenal one, AJ Pollock. Andrew, what's up, man?
Andrew.
Ooh, Andrew. He was getting really feisty that no one was calling him because we were having a great discussion about owners. And now, can you believe the nerve of this guy, John? He doesn't even answer. He gets called in. We call him up as we usually do each week, and then he doesn't even talk. It's crazy.
Andrew.
I mean, this guy is really slacking. He had a good week last week with the 10 of 10 for the Adam Sandler movies. And now this week, maybe he's a little scared because he's a Yankee fan. He didn't really want to do this list, and he's being forced to do it. Maybe he's just a big shot now after he hosted the 9 o'clock Random Mets Hour with Otto von Bolshevik.
Hello.
Oh, look who decided to show up at
The microphone was acting up. I don't know what happened.
Well, here's the problem. You have Spectrum, and it's terrible. Spectrum's the worst Wi-Fi.
And
All right, now listen, Andrew. We're all ready for the list here. Go nice and concise and slow. Don't talk fast into the mic because that's when your mic cuts out. And we know you got your big show coming up at 9 o'clock, but we need to hear this list. The top 10 reasons why Yankee fans are the worst.
All right, because hopefully the UCY execs are listening. Okay. Welcome to this.
Treat this like your audition for your own show.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. In fact, to make sure that my Wi-Fi doesn't act up, I'm going to make sure that all my devices are not connected to the network, only my laptop. There we go. All done.
All right, take it away, Andrew.
All right. So Nick already introduced the topic, so I might as well start reading it. Number 10. Oh, boy. The fans just love how this franchise keeps playing players with a very fancy payroll that's way too expensive.
So number 10 is the high payroll. Okay, well, yeah, that's definitely part of the problem. The Yankees fans don't know anything about actual player development and whatnot. They just buy whoever they want because they have a lot of money, and that's definitely the reason why the fans are very obnoxious. Number 9.
Okay. Number 9. Paying high ticket prices just to see their team play.
Yes, the ticket prices are ridiculous at
For the Mets. If you get lucky for the Mets, you can get a good deal.
John, have you been to the new Yankee Stadium?
I have. And I have to say that the fact that they rebuilt the house that Ruth built just to add more seats, because the stadium's exactly the same essentially, is such a slap in the face to their legacy. What a bunch of money-grubbing, greedy fucking cocksuckers. They had a beautiful, beautiful place, all of this wonderful baseball history, and they built a bigger one in the parking lot for no other reason, just to get more people in there. Disgrazia.
And it looks like it's always empty behind the plate, which is crazy. I like to call Yankee Stadium the house that I built because my money went to it, the taxpayers' money. So it could be the house that the taxpayers built.
Yeah, we can't fix the trains at a Penn Station, but we got money to build the Yankees a new stadium.
Yeah, how about this? Another thing. In my area right now, the roads are a total mess. Instead of fixing that or, fixing the MTA issues, they're planting trees all over the place. What a waste of money. I know we need oxygen and all, but we're getting through just fine all these years without the extra trees.
That is just some leftist nonsense. Oh, we put trees. Listen, do you know how many trees? Like, if you look at a map of the United States, the vast, vast majority of it is not industrialized whatsoever. Millions and millions of miles are just forests and shit. That is just nonsense. They want to spend money on that bullshit rather than fixing actual infrastructure. It's just bullshit.
Yep. All right, number 8, Andrew.
Okay, number 8. The Yankees always get a national televised game.
Yeah, that's ridiculous because no one wants to see the Yankees. I'm so sick of them. And how about why does every Yankees nationalized televised game take like at least 2 times longer than a regular game, John? Especially when they play the Red Sox.
Well,
Here comes money.
They gotta sell their commercial. They gotta get that ad money, like Andrew's saying.
Mm-hmm. And the Yankees just also play this really long, boring style where Joe Girardi's
guys, Otto just commented, oxygen is for wusses.
Well, you can talk about that on the Random Mess Hour coming up at 9 o'clock on UCY.tv. But, yeah, the Yankee Stadium prices are ridiculous, and the games are just too long for the Yankees. Like I said, their play style is so slow. Joe Girardi is always going by, these stats and stuff. He's made a million pitching changes and pinch hitters and nonsense. It's a total waste of time. Next up on the list, Andrew.
Okay, number 7. Yankee fans always claim that the Steinbrenners are perfect.
Yeah, they are definitely not perfect. And another thing with this is, I hate when they always oh, well, if George was here. Well, I hate when they say that because he's not here, and you gotta give it a break. What do you think, John?
Yeah, that's like me going, if Doubleday was here, if Tom Seaver was here, stop living in the past, Yankee fans.
Yes, and the Steinbrenners, lots of scandal going back to George. So I hate that people would say they're the best owners.
Okay, number 6. Everybody gets sick and tired of them winning.
Well, I'm sick and tired of them in general. Them winning was just one of the worst time periods in sports, right, John?
This is my thing. You got a lot of Yankee fans who are, in their mid to late 20s now, who are all these obnoxious jerk-offs. They're all over Twitter. Yankees love winning, blah, blah, blah. They haven't won since '09. It's been 8 years. They're not, that's a decade.
And the thing is, they are so spoiled, especially these kids that are born in the mid-90s, early 90s, mid-90s, and late 90s, that you could say anything negatively about the Yankees in some little regard, such as saying, oh, well, the 2004 ALCS is the greatest series of all time because it was historic, and that's just saying, kudos to the Red Sox, and then dumbasses like at True Hennessy on Twitter will respond back saying, oh, the 2006 and 2015 World Series were amazing series as well. Both examples of why the Mets will be a little brother. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, so the Cardinals won the World Series in 2006. The Mets weren't even there. And the Mets won the World Series in 2015. Like, I don't understand what that's to do with the 2004 World Series champions and the biggest comeback of all time. Very confusing as to why these little Yankee fans are so moronic.
Well, they're butthurt because they haven't won anything since '09. And that '09 season is a huge blemish. It's why they don't talk about it. You think about if just say A-Rod never got caught being a steroid juice head, that would be like the Yankees would never shut up about it. But they don't talk about it whatsoever because they want it on his big, pimply, steroid-using back. He had all those home runs in the playoffs, and it turns out he was juiced out of his goddamn mind. Disgusting.
Yep, and Adam says, how come sports franchises are tax-free? I'm not really sure about all the teams, but the NFL used to be a non-for-profit, which is the biggest joke ever. But as of last year, they actually are for-profit now and have to pay taxes.
Well, all of these people pay taxes. What we were talking about was the infrastructure build, where a lot of these professional sport teams, what they do is the city they build in will eat part of the costs of the new stadium because the economy is going to boost up when the stadium comes up because there's like rock concerts and stuff like that,
right.
Which I'm fine with. But the Yankees didn't need a new stadium. Yankee Stadium,
and they could have funded it. They could have funded it on their own. They should have done that. They should have seeked a sponsor to get the name rights. And that's why, on a side note, real quick, the future Las Vegas Raiders, that stadium is going to be built 100% not by the citizens of Las Vegas, which is great. It's all coming from. Some of it's coming from the owner, I think, but the majority is coming from the tax that the hotels charge visitors, the tourist fee. All they had to do was up the tax by $2 a night, and that's how they're making all of the money for the stadium. So I thought that was a really great business structure that NFL worked out there to build the stadium.
Absolutely. I think it's genius, and, I went to Vegas 2 years ago. I got to tell you right now, there's a sports bar where you can bet on the games, and it has like stadium seating. It's packed every day because people love sports, but there's no sports in the middle of the desert. Those games are going to be the comp things that you get instead of shows, and they're going to be packed every Sunday. I got to tell you right now, if I'm planning on going to Vegas, I try to plan around the Giant game.
Just remember this, everybody. Madden NFL 20 has the Las Vegas Raiders.
Madden NFL 20? Huh?
Yeah, they're going to have the Raiders in Madden NFL 20.
Or did it be called 20? I don't know if they're going to call it 20. I think they might call it 2020. Anyway, I think Andrew's over there petting his dog or something, and we don't put up with that crap around here. So continue the list.
Wait, what crap are we talking about?
It sounded like you were petting your dog or something.
Oh, no. I was doing something.
Oh, you're beating your meat on the air? Jesus, Andrew. This isn't Howard Stern. This is a family program.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm just rocking my chair back and forth. It's a rocking chair, okay?
Andrew gets very impatient when he can't talk for more than 20 seconds. And I don't want everyone to know that he's been to Vegas.
All right, thanks, Adam. Thanks for the hard-hitting analysis.
Okay.
All right, Andrew. Next up on the list.
Back on topic, please, while I'm sitting on my rocking chair.
Let's go.
Okay, there we go. Number 5. How about when the Yankees try to get these players past their prime and all of a sudden, they stink.
Well, that's not. That's like actually a good thing. So I don't see. Like, I'm really happy when the Yankees sign these bums
No,
and they
because
suck. What about you?
fans brag about it.
Well, that's true. The fans like, oh, we just signed some guy. I mean, we got Alfonso Soriano back when he's 43 years old. Oh, he's going to be fantastic. Yeah, it's so stupid. That is true.
I have to give the Yankees organization credit where credit is due. They have been better about that the last 2 or 3 years, but they have a notorious record for just going out and writing a blank check and shit not working out. There's tons of it. Right now, the only real bad contract they have, because most of them aged out, I guess you could say Jacoby Ellsbury, but that wasn't a bad contract when they signed it. They overpaid him, but he was young. He's just injury prone, always injury prone.
Right. All right. He's very Now they have him batting fourth, even though they signed him to be a leadoff guy. Very crazy. All right, Andrew, number 4.
All right. How about when all of a sudden Yankee fans love to talk about their past all the time, but the 27 World Championships and the 40 American League pennants that they've had?
Yeah, that's the stupidest thing. Whoa, we won all these we won 27 World Series, and your team sucks. We won 27 World Series, even though I was alive for only 6 of them or 5 of them, and I was only 2 years old when they started winning. So I hate when the fans do that, John, when they have to talk about the past as if it matters.
Well, you know what? If you live through the past, talk all the shit you want. But the problem is the vast majority of these Yankee fans the reason they live in their past like that, because it's like a fallback thing, because they're fair weather fans. They're not even really baseball guys. You fucking Yankees. Like, oh, really? Name me the World Series MVP from, say, half of those 27 World Series. You can't, because you don't even give a shit about baseball. You're just a fucking jerk off.
Right. And another thing, I don't know if Andrew has this on the list, but how about all these people, specifically rappers or not to group together thugs or people who are robbed stores and stuff, the typical 5'8" Hispanic guy with a hood and a Yankee hat is always the description for these like criminals. Like, why is the Yankee hat? Why does everyone think it's like a necessary accessory to wear?
Well,
I don't know why.
Right from Jay-Z's gigantic lips, make the Yankee hat more famous than a Yankee can. Yeah. It's part of the hood culture.
That's why Beyonce doesn't want her lips messed around with.
Yeah, because, fucking Jay-Z's burning his on a crack pipe.
All right, Andrew.
Okay. Let's talk about the fact that number 3, Yankee fans still have a tight emotional experience toward Jeter, and they have to constantly bring up his name.
Yeah, why do they care so much about the future owner of the Marlins anyway? It's ridiculous. I mean, get over it. He retired, move on, and quit praising him for no reason. All right, next step on the list.
I'm a Yankee fan who looks towards the future. I don't like talking about the past.
Here's the thing. I'm a baseball fan. I'm a Met fan, but I love the game of baseball. So I will admit that Derek Jeter is going to walk right into the Hall of Fame. But the problem is that he hasn't been good in a decade. And he hasn't played the last couple of years. So why don't you shut the fuck up? That's like us talking about, Keith Hernandez. Oh, don't talk shit. We got Keith Hernandez. Like, Derek Jeter's not on the team anymore. He hasn't been on the team. He hasn't been the Jeter guy that you're talking about in a decade.
One time I got in a fight with someone in a Blockbuster. That shows you how long it is, because I was wearing a Mets hat or something as a kid. And he was like, oh, the Mets suck. We got Derek Jeter on the Yankees. And all you got is Mike Piazza, but he's gay. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, they're just so stupid.
That's a stupid argument.
I know. It's ridiculous.
First of all, Mike Piazza is married to a playmate. Secondly, that was a bullshit accusation when he was having that feud with steroid-using, lying Roger Clemens. That was a Yankee writer in the New York.
Oh, I hate Roger Clemens.
That just completely character assassinated him. But now we actually live in a different time. Being gay is a lot more acceptable. So How about this? Why is that a problem?
Because there's a lot of hypocrites in today's society. That's the sad reality of it.
Absolutely, Andrew.
Lots of clueless dumbasses in society as well. All right, let's go. Keep the list going here, Andrew.
All right. So I'm going to give the definition of arrogance so that way common-minded people can understand what I'm about to talk about here. Basically, you're basically having your ego as a Yankee fan. Okay, your ego says, hey, I'm rooting for them because we like to win all the time. Blah, 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 blah. That's number 2 on the list. Plain arrogance.
I completely agree.
There is no fan base. I mean, the Cowboys come close, but there's no fan base with bigger arrogance and loserness and just insecurities and pettiness than the Yankee fan base.
Well, what it does is it attracts those people that don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Because I gotta tell you, when I was in the Marines and I was down south, all of these Yankee fans weren't from New York. None of them. They were all from all over the country. Oh, fucking Yankees, blah 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 blah. The Derek Jeter. Oh, really? Name me their starting 5 pitchers right now. Duh, nothing. Because they weren't even baseball fans. It's this catch-all. Like, duh.
Well, I can name the guys right now. Masahiro Tanaka.
We don't want to hear you. We don't want to hear you. We don't want to hear you. We don't care about the Yankees.
Andrew, I follow you on Twitter. I know for a fact that you're watching the Yankees. You're not the problem. The problem is the jerk-off kid with the flat-rimmed Yankee hat on the subway right now. That's
right. I used to always
that kid doesn't watch Sports Night on SNY. Unbelievable.
I used to get in arguments in school growing up with these Yankee fans. I was like, name another Yankee besides A-Rod and Derek Jeter, and I couldn't. They couldn't ever do it. So
what?
And they dumbasses. All right, number 1. Here we go.
Time to start watching SportsCenter. That's all I gotta say. All right.
I don't know if you're watching SportsCenter. Not a lot of good stuff going on there right now. We'll get to that after this.
All right. Number 1, and this is a negative being a Yankee fan, and I hate these guys so much. And Nick and John will know what I'm talking about. The number 1 reason why the Yankee fans are the worst fans in baseball has to obviously be those annoying bleacher creatures. The morons who always chant at the beginning of every game the starting lineup, and then in the middle of the game get into pointless arguments and then beat each other up because they're drunk.
Andrew Pollock. Andrew Pollock. Bunch of losers out there, John. What do you think of those people?
Yeah, to try to defend a little bit, play devil's advocate. There's not a lot of bleacher creatures now because the price is too damn high. But way back when it was Shea and you get it on a Wednesday, the Pepsi picnic area, I did indulge quite a bit and go with the drunks at the picnic area, and it was fun. Speaking of which, I'll tell you a really old game that I was at. I was at a Mike Mussina start. It was a day game. I was in the bleachers. I cut school. I was in the bleachers, Yankee Stadium. They were playing the Royals, and this kid, like 2 rows in front of me, got thrown out because he was smoking a blunt right there in his seat in the bleachers.
Good. He deserves to get kicked out. And how about this? This is ridiculous in this day and age. The Yankees, where the bleacher creatures sit right now, there's actually no backs to the chairs, and you can only see right field and home plate. The whole rest of the field's obstructed, and they still make you pay $30 to $45 for that ticket, which is ridiculous. I would never go to a game where I didn't have a back to my seat.
I wouldn't. No.
Yeah, I'm certainly not paying $40. That's fucking nuts. You can barely see the game, so you end up watching most of it on the big screen, and then you don't have a back to your seat, and it's just drunk jerk-offs who are just...
You can't even see the screen from there. It's obstructed. It's ridiculous. And Citi Field has a lot of obstructions, too, which is ridiculous.
Maybe if your team wins a lot and you're sick and tired of winning, that's why there's hand jobs in the bleachers.
What the hell are you saying?
Okay, so there was this Cub game last season, right? And it was the middle of the season. The Cubs basically won 70 or 80 games already. They were in the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. So basically what happened was there was a picture online that showed this guy getting jacked off in the bleachers.
That's actually fucking hilarious. Sometimes you gotta get jerked off in the bleachers. I don't want to tell you.
Leave it to Andrew to absolutely come up with the craziest remark ever. I mean, yikes. Lots of hate in the chat room for Cowboys fans, which is
Oh, I hate Cowboys.
all right, so that was the 10 of 10. Andrew, remind everybody what your 10 of 10 is next week after a suggestion in the chat room last week.
All right, so who suggested it? Because I want to shout this person out right now. Do you remember? Was it Otto?
Yeah, it might have been Hopper or Grump, one of the two.
Oh, okay. So basically, hang on for a second.
Hang up. You want me to hang up on you?
Almost, Dad. Hang on.
Oh, Andrew's dad joining the show. Mr. Pollock, what's going on?
Hey guys. I just got home repairing the Tahoe. If you check my son's Snapchat today, you saw how sad I am, and I told him not to post a photo.
Oh my gosh, Mr. Pollock. You gotta get your son off social media. He's dangerous.
Well, I'm not on Snapchat. I don't even have a Facebook.
Oh my gosh. All right, is Andrew there? Andrew, when you know what the 10 of 10 is for next week?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Dad, for your honest commentary. Just get off the air already. Be quiet.
You gotta lock the door. You gotta lock the doors in your studio, Andrew.
All right. All right, back to on topic. Yeah, next week we're gonna be doing top 10 bagels.
Yes, Andrew's been researching so far, but he hasn't been posting any videos, which is really disappointing because he did promise our listeners he would.
Well, this week I already had a poppy seed bagel, and tomorrow I'm going to try to pick up an everything bagel so that way I can eat it on Friday.
All right, there you have it. He's working hard, and that's why he's the field reporter. And Andrew, we're guessing you got to go because your dad wants you off the air already. So we'll see ya. And don't forget to tune into your own show at 9 p.m. on the UCY.TV network.
I hope the network executives are going to let me on the air. You think they will?
Maybe if you clean up your act. I mean, are you and your dad going to host the show together? I don't really know what's going on there. You got to lock the doors in your studio.
Yeah, well, when I'm on the air at 9 o'clock, I'm going to make sure that nobody comes into the studio. Okay?
There you have it. Keep those crazy fans out. All right, Andrew. See you next week.
All right, Andrew.
All right, everyone. Take care and enjoy the NFL draft. Bye now.
All right. So, yeah, obviously NFL draft coming up tomorrow. We won't really talk about it now because it's just a bunch of people predicting stuff. We'll be talking about that next week, though. We'll recap who the Giants and Jets got. But now let's move on here to the other thing I was mentioning earlier, and that's the ESPN layoffs. Laying off a bunch of people today. Now, did you see the list of who got laid off and who is the biggest surprise to you that got fired?
Honestly, so I cut the cord because giving one of the cable companies is kind of ridiculous. But even before then, outside of Around the Horn or Part of the Interruption, there's nothing on ESPN I can watch anymore. So a lot of the people I saw on Twitter were like, "Oh, we got fired." I didn't really know who they were. So I'm not surprised that they did this because I have been reading, all over the interwebs, mostly the baseball subreddit, that ESPN's ratings every night are just they're getting hammered because it was LeBron stories and then it was the Johnny Manziel stories and it was Tim Tebow everything. They really tried to interject everything else other than sports into sports.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the problem.
Politics.
The politics is the problem because they have to inject all these social views and all these crazy people with their hot takes, and nobody wants to listen to that. You're not turning on ESPN to hear political talk. You're turning it on for an escape from political talk. So I don't understand. They messed themselves up. And if you look at these firings today, Basically, everyone that was fired except for two people, Danny Kanell and Trent Dilfer. Those are the two athletes. Everyone else was like a reporter or an analyst or a writer, columnist that was like straight and narrow for the most part, telling news like news should be told. And who didn't get fired? All these, like people who got to give hot takes and have to make everything social justice issues and these race baiters. I'm surprised they don't try to hire Sean King to do a show.
Here's the thing: if your viewers want to watch leftist bullshit, they put on MSNBC. The problem with ESPN really comes down to the fact that it's owned by Disney, and that whole leftist bullshit, comes from the top. It comes from, program directors pick and choose and look at the ratings CNN's getting. We got to do more news. Get politics into the sports. Blah blah blah. The election's the biggest story. Blah 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 blah. But here's the thing: in reality, people want to watch politics. They'll put on CNN. They'll put on MSNBC. They'll put on Fox News. They're watching you because they want to watch sports. And the vast majority of red blood Americans that want to watch sports changed the channel from them ages ago. Slowly but surely. It was the Michael Sam thing, and it was the Jason Collins thing, and then it's just social engineering bullshit jammed down your throats. And listen, it's one thing if you put on the news, because that's sort of like what you signed up for. But that's not what you signed up for. When I turn on SportsCenter and they're interviewing Ice-T, why? Right. If I wanted to watch Access Hollywood, I would. But I don't. So it's, I don't want to hear Stephen A. Smith talk about race relations. I don't want to hear any of this nonsense. I want to hear the sports. Break down sports.
Yep.
That's it.
And that's the big issue here. So we're going to play a little game called Who Should Have Stayed and Who Should Have Gone. I'm going to read through a list of some of these personalities, and John and I will let you know if we think they should have stayed or if they should have been fired. So first we'll do the people that got fired today. So John probably doesn't know a bunch of these people. I'll just read off the most relevant people here. Sports Center anchor, former First Take host, former Cold Pizza co-host, Jay Crawford. Do you know who he is? And what do you think about him getting released?
I don't hate Jay Crawford, but on the same note, I don't love him.
Well, I think he should have definitely stayed. He's been with the company for a long time, and he was doing a lot of different things for them, and there's a lot of anchors who are a lot worse than him, a lot worse. Chris Hassel, he's doing the mornings and stuff. You probably have no idea who he is, so I'll skip over him. Danny Kanell, former Giants backup quarterback, now radio host on ESPN Radio for the Russillo and Kanell show. Well, no longer now. He got released today. What are your thoughts?
Never heard of the show, so that's actually one thing that I think really needs to get out there. When it comes to sports radio, ESPN Sports Radio is it's unlistenable. It's terrible.
You got to listen to WFAN. I mean,
honestly,
if you don't, something's wrong with it.
I have XM, and I'll listen to either the baseball channel. It's like 96. I listen to a little bit of 99, which is stand-up.
And radio?
I listen to 710 in the morning sometimes. I listen to, obviously, Mike Francesa, but I don't listen to a second of ESPN Radio. I didn't have it programmed on there anymore because it's just terrible. Every time I turn it on, it's just, it's Susie Waldman talking about the Yankees, or it's just, terrible garbage.
Yeah, how about Michael Kay?
Michael Kay is the worst. Michael Kay is the Bill de Blasio of sports radio.
Oh boy. Maybe so. Let's go. We'll jump ahead here. Michael Kay, should he have been fired, or is he good? They did the right thing by keeping his job.
Fire him. He's getting destroyed. Mike Francesa is phoning it in, arguing with people
for years,
falling asleep on the air. Mike Francesa doesn't give a single fuck.
People would rather listen to Mike, just sit there in silence than Michael Kay.
Absolutely. And Michael Kay is in the same time slot, just getting brutalized. They're not even trying to win that time slot. Do you want ratings? Do you want to win the ratings war? Because you're not even close. And Mike Francesa hasn't been doing anything new, exciting, or anything. He's falling asleep on the air. He's arguing facts. He's misnaming guys. He's calling guys up. He's naming athletes from the 1980s. The guy's 1 foot in retirement. He doesn't give a fuck, and he's still murdering Michael Caine ratings.
Yeah, Michael K's show, not a good show. I really like Don LaGreca though on the Michael K show, and he should have his own. He should have his name in the title. It's ridiculous. He's been co-hosted for like 12 years. Another person from the radio who got fired. He actually worked in New York. Robin Lundberg. He used to have a good show back in the day with Dave Rothenberg. He got moved to like the nights or overnights when they brought back Mike Lupica, who's terrible. I'm guessing you don't know who he is, but I'm going to say he definitely should not have lost his job. I don't see what the point of was of firing like an overnight ESPN New York radio host. I mean, really, it's not like people are flocking to listen to your boy JJ after dark on WFAN. So I'm sure ESPN does their best ratings overnight.
Yeah, what you don't realize though is that JJ actually does really good for the overnight. He has a Mongo following that these Rothenberg guys don't, because he interacts with the crazies on Twitter.
Rothenberg interacts though. He's great on Twitter. I never see JJ interact other than saying, "Oh, my Dolphins, my Yankees."
Oh no, you should see. He goes at it with Lindsay all the time.
Leslie, yeah.
Leslie.
Yeah. I just think naturally though that ESPN probably does better ratings-wise overnight than they do during the day, going head-to-head against any station, really.
You know, it's the ESPN radio. I would say that the Yankee games, that's not even on there anymore, right?
Yankee games are WFAN.
Yeah, so what major sports do they get? The Jet games, I think?
They got the Jets, Knicks, and Rangers on New York, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the only thing that they get ratings for.
Mike and Mike in the morning, ESPN radio.
Yeah, that's syndicated though. That's all over the country. That's like a.
What do you think? You think Mike and Mike should have got fired?
No, they do a good show. It's a morning show, bullshit. And I like Gold. Greeny's kind of annoying, but I like Golick. But it's a morning show. You know, it's the quirky morning show guy thing. So they have like a nice little stick. I don't mind them, but that's a nationally syndicated show. It's different. They're not like a New York, ESPN New York show. That's a ESPN Everywhere show.
Right. So I got a comment here before we continue the list here from a clueless listener, Matty Clues, for you, John. He says, everyone that watches sports will be the ones with the least skills and be the first to die in cities when shit goes down, in the worst shape and a team mentality when independence counts. I think this guy does not know what he's talking about. What do you think?
First of all, I was a United States Marine, so I don't know how that shit's going down. Secondly, I think you watch Doomsday Preppers too goddamn much, and being a team player is a good thing. Individuality nonsense that we teach in school, where no one's a winner, no one's a loser, no one's team wins, no one's team loses, is the real problem. Sports is the complete opposite of that. It's on the complete end of the spectrum, because there are winners and there are losers. And it's the only thing in our society right now, especially during adolescence, that says you are a winner, you are a loser. So resistance to that probably means that you sucked at sports, or you're an asshole and you're not a good teammate. One or the other. Probably both. Who knows? But, you can live in the woods and eat dog shit and survive the nuclear holocaust. That's great. But until that shit hits the fan, generalizations like that don't make any sense.
And there you have it, John, putting the listeners in their place once again. Now, I agree with everything you said, by the way. Back to the list here. So here's like the biggest surprise to me. Jason Stark, MLB writer. He's also on MLB Tonight. He's been there forever. He gets fired. I think he should have stayed.
Yeah, that's actually one of the guys. I actually follow him on Twitter. Baseball Tonight's actually one of their good programs.
Apparently they're gonna cut the show down. They're either gonna get rid of it now or make it like once or twice a week. And I think it's the best show on the network. Absolutely.
And you know what they really should do, man? And it's surprising that they haven't done anything like it yet. Is a lot of people, streaming's so important now. Why don't they let you stream? Like, so what I want to do is, if I fall asleep or whatever, I don't get to watch Baseball Tonight. The next day, why can't I watch Baseball Tonight on YouTube? Like they hoard their content so that you can't do that. But instead, I'm not gonna not watch baseball highlights. I'm just gonna watch the MLB Network on my phone rather than try to hunt down and go on Fios and do all this nonsense on my phone.
I would say the MLB Network is the best of the sports leagues networks. I think it's way better than the rest of the networks.
Hands down, it's phenomenal. And the XM radio station, that essentially all it does is play the audio from the TV station. It's the best sports radio. So XM radio has like 16 different channels. The only good ones are the MLB one and the PGA one. But I can only listen to the PGA one when there's an actual golf going on. I can't listen to the commentary. It's terrible. But the MLB one is just phenomenal.
PGA station. That's just crazy.
It's good stuff.
Well, talking about Tiger Woods back over and over again. Oh, jeez.
You haven't listened to golf in forever, man. They're not talking about Tiger Woods anymore.
All I see on ESPN is Tiger Woods, Tiger Woods, Tiger Woods, Tiger Woods, Tiger Woods, Tiger Woods.
That's what it tells you, that ESPN's so far away from the sport.
Nobody cares about golf for the most part in this country, except like people who play it, and it's not even that many people. You need to have a lot of money to play. Matty Clue's coming back at you with some nonsense. Really? You think you proved me wrong? I think you just said some unrelated bullshit. I don't think it's worth my time to argue with you. But if you guys think you're right, I'll keep going. Okay, well, whatever. We don't really care about your opinion for the most part. But if you want to keep sharing it, we will keep reading it because that's what we do. And now another person, Reese Waters. He was like a comedian guy. I think him getting fired was fine. Nice guy, though. Then we have Trent Dilfer, NFL. He was terrible at his job. I don't even know how he lasted all these years. What are your thoughts on him?
Thank God he got fired, because he's lived his whole life as a pretender. Like, the guy won a Super Bowl without being a good quarterback. It's fucking insane. He's just sort of floating around on people's coattails. He's terrible. Terrible.
Ed Werder got fired. He's an NFL insider reporter. I think he'll get hired really quick.
Yeah, all those insider guys. For the vast majority of them, I can take it or leave them, just because they always spout out bullshit. It turns out not to be true, or unnamed sources say this nonsense.
So how about this then? All of ESPN's NHL writers were fired, so they're the worldwide leader, but they won't cover hockey. What sense does that make, especially now when the Stanley Cup playoffs?
It's just like you said. Whenever they talk about golf, all they talk about is Tiger Woods, because they're not really invested in the sports. They're about all the other nonsense. So hockey, they're like, well, you know what? Hockey's not ratings, blah, 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 blah. We're dropping it. In reality, what happened is MS, in different markets would be different channels, like Ness in Boston or MSG here in New York, just does a much, much better job because they're more invested in it. ESPN has all the money and all the access to the major sports, but they're not handling it right. If they handled it right, they would have the best hockey coverage because they have the most money and the most exposure, and they can go out and get all the talent. They don't handle it right. They handle it nonsense.
They decided not to keep the NHL. The NHL used to be on ESPN for years. Now it's on NBC. NBC does a solid job. And speaking of hockey, John, we got the Rangers taking on the Senators in a new series starting up in the second round of the playoffs. And the winner of this series is going to take on the winner of the Penguins versus Capitals. So I think I got the Rangers beating the Senators in 6 games. How about you?
Yeah, I've only watched intermediately a little bit here and there. But, yeah, why not? Let's do it.
All right, Rangers, Eastern Conference Finals. They'll probably take on the Penguins and unfortunately lose. Another side note, ESPN, all they care about is the NBA. And we got the NBA playoffs going on right now. First round of the NBA playoffs is probably the worst round of playoffs in any sport.
Oh, it's like unwatchable. I haven't watched a second of it. It's just because it's exactly who you think it's going to be. It's non-competitive. The league needs to get rid of the salary cap. It's a non-competitive league at this point.
For sure. So real quick, maybe some people I think should have got fired. Actually, from that, they shouldn't have gotten fired. They fired their legal analyst, Roger Kosak. You've probably seen him anytime there's a legal issue. He comes on. So I guess they don't really need a legal analyst. I have no idea why they would fire him. Tim Hasselbeck and Matt Hasselbeck should have been gone. They're garbage. Alex Cora probably could have been gone. Aaron Boone, John Kruk, John Clayton. Yeah, they don't need these people. I mean, some of these people I can't believe that they still have jobs. Ron Jaworski, just basically everybody who, all these people who kept their jobs were former athletes, and it's not fair. Jesse Palmer, why is he on TV? Who cares what he has to say? Then we got LZ Granderson. He's he's never on TV. All of a sudden, they put him on Sports Nation because he writes for CNN about social issues and injustice, and he came out as gay, so they wanted to put him on. Jamel Hill, she's got to go. She's terrible. And Michael Smith, also another terrible person. I hate their type of personalities and their stupid show and stuff like that. And just those type of people, there's no need to really have them on the air anymore. What are your thoughts on any of those people I mentioned?
Cut all of them. All of them. Gone.
Yeah.
Anyone who's there to talk about some fucking social engineering nonsense and not talking about, pitching or stamina or something to do with the sport, gone. And those athletes, they're not, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? They're backup quarterbacks. They're nobodies. Alex Cora was a bench player his whole life. Who gives a shit?
Yep. And I think ESPN be doing a lot better with you in charge over there.
Well, here's the thing. CBS, NBC, they do a much better job with their sports channels. Fox Sports 1 is all the weird alternative sports just because they don't want to pay for it. But at least they cover them well. They're more worried about entertainment, and they're more worried about what Ice-T thinks about what's going on.
They're very concerned about politics. And now let's shift gears real quick. We have like 2 or 3 minutes left. So in these 3 minutes, we got to cover 2 topics. We'll start, John, with NAFTA. What's your take on what's going on with that right now?
NAFTA needs to be completely ripped up, if not really, really changed. I saw that we put a tariff on Canadian wood. Good. NAFTA didn't improve anyone's life in America. It improved people's life all over the world. It's a shitty trading agreement we're getting the short end of. Why should we just deal with it?
Yeah, and that's the direction that we're trying to go. And then lastly, North Korea and USA, the tensions right now rising. What do you think is going to happen? I think a whole lot of nothing for the most part.
Absolutely nothing. I'm really proud of Trump. He was able to get China on board to vote with not vote with Russia in the UN, and to send back coal shipments to North Korea. Also moved 150,000 troops next to the border. So they're really leaning on North Korean leadership to not be stupid. So honestly, I don't think anything's going to happen. I think they're going to back down and shut up eventually. If they don't, I think China will just replace them with somebody who will. Kim Jong-un will have a heart attack, and his brother or son or some nonsense will become the supreme leader. But there won't be a war there. There's too much. There's too much at stake economically for all the world powers that get involved. There's really nobody who wants a war there. China doesn't want it. Japan doesn't want it. Russia doesn't want it. South Korea doesn't want it. We don't want it. So in reality, he's really just posturing because he wants more aid. But I guess we'll see.
Yep, there you have it. I don't think people were like, "Oh, we're going to have a World War III." It's not happening. I don't know why people think that we're getting a World War III because of North Korea. And North Korea, they don't even have any money, so they couldn't even start a war if they wanted to try.
You know what? You do karate in the woods all you want. You don't have fucking Apache helicopters and shit. You know what I mean? But I'd say the one thing that the media is really not talking about right now, which could lead into a World War, and they're just not talking about it because it's not part of the narrative. All these details are coming out in Politico about Obama's Iran deal. Oh, it turns out that we released prisoners that were under arrest for suspected terrorism, and that the payment was a ransom payment. So we have a former president who made a deal with the #1 state sponsor of terrorism, gave them billions of dollars in cash to stop, quote unquote, stop their nuclear weapons program. They haven't stopped it at all. That could pop off at any second. They don't need an intercontinental ballistic missile to hit,